Thank you. Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, everyone. And very warm welcome to this webinar and second interaction meeting that we are having in Punjab from all higher education institutions. But let me first very warmly welcome Dr. Amer Aziz, Director QEC, and also Madam Iram Sohail. Thank you so very much for your consent to help us and share your experience, because both of you have been working as Director QEC for a long time, and I'm sure that there's a lot we can learn from. And I requested, and thank you for accepting our invitation. And once again, very warm welcome to all the directors and representatives of QEC and various institutions in Punjab. Thank you so very much. Let me just very quickly update that we have had a meeting earlier, a few months back, first interactive meeting with all the directors, and a couple of things that we have been able to notice indicate that there's a serious need for capacity building and training to bring our QEC level to a level where they can be effectively engaged in quality assurance, internal quality assessment, and procedures and practices, and the standards and criteria that are set at the national level for their implementation in their institutions. So unless their capacity is up to the mark, we may not be able to make perhaps much big difference. So as a result of that, we are going to now have a regular engagement in terms of meetings, in terms of discussion, in terms of training programs with all QEC officials in Punjab, in both public and private institutions. And we will also like to have a program to create opportunity for sharing of experience, particularly those institutions who are doing well. And I'm sure there's a lot can be learned from those institutions who are in the lead, and they can guide and help other institutions because they have gone through this process. And I think this networking and sharing of experiences would help us to move in this enhancement of quality and assurance of the standards as required. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know that QECs has been established long ago. Preliminary documents are available in Higher Education Commission Islamabad website, and we are all familiar with that. So no need to go into detail, but I strongly feel that those documents are also need to have a fresh look and see that what are the new indicators and new requirements that has to be incorporated in those documents, so that they should have updation, because I'm not sure that if some review process has been carried out at the national level. So we had a first preliminary meeting with the new MD of QEC, Quality Assurance Agency of HEC, and we'll work with them to see that if we can have review of these standards and criteria. So this is one level of engagement of PHEC with Federal Higher Education Commission. And that certainly cannot be possible without the involvement of important stakeholders in institutions and in universities. And from that perspective, we would be requiring your help and support and guidance on these matters. Ladies and gentlemen, the next important thing is that we have requested institution as per requirement of the Act of Punjab Higher Education Commission to monitor and effectively evaluate the quality and standards of education being imparted in higher education sector in the province. So from that point of view, we had a preliminary assessment, and we got some data. Some universities have been able to provide the information and documents and reports of institutional performance evaluation, and also the programs in which they have been able to complete the quality enhancement cell standards and requirements. But there are many universities who have not been able to make much progress and have not been able to submit anything. So we are also requesting them to kindly look at it and complete your processes and indicate and tell us that where you are. There are two things. One is that we have to continue with the capacity building approach, helping institution, facilitating. The second is also making sure that the requirements are also met. So these are those two difficult tasks, but we are going to undertake it, and we'll see that how best we can work together. As we all know that two levels of engagement for completion of SARs, internal quality assessment and external quality assessment. And we are all familiar about internal SARs and what is the requirement. But we know that in most of the cases where the data is available and where the procedures have been followed, the reports are compiled by program teams, followed by assessment teams, and then with some implementation plans, changes, updation, improvement, suggestions. But then after that, I think there is no serious follow-up that is being followed. Maybe in some universities, this has been the practice, but we would like to make sure that this weak link of QECs with the interaction and with working with Vice-Chancellor's office can be strengthened. So in coming days, we are going to have a joint meeting with Vice-Chancellors jointly, as well as maybe on Zoom, and also we'll have a specific meeting for a particular university so that we can look at it and address that what are the challenges and how best we can undertake them and come up to the next level. External quality assessment is another important element where regulators are involved, HEC, PHEC, and then accreditation bodies are playing a very important role, and very well known 15 to 20 accreditation bodies which are set up either by their act at federal level or provincial level or under HEC. They are also responsible to have a minimum compliance of the standards and criteria set at the national level, like Engineering Council, Pakistan Medical Commission, and Bar Council, Nursing, and so many other which we are all familiar with. So from that perspective, we have to see that all these national requirement and guidelines are in compliance. Next important element is that how we are looking from the international perspective, and what are the new developments which are happening in higher education sector, and how our policies are in conformity with the international perspective. So this is another thing, and that is where we will work with HEC to see how we can improve this document to take it to the next level. In recent time with COVID and with the education technology, a lot of things have changed, and our faculty members, our institutions have done quite well, and I must thank them for their support, guidance, and also in compliance of national guidelines. In spite of difficult times, particularly faculty has been able to engage the students, and the academic session has been completed successfully without serious delay in their or disruption as far as the teaching learning process is concerned. So from that perspective, I think we have to work together, and quality is very important from the perspective of national education policy, and we have to see that how best we can work together. And if we look at some of the important elements of national education policy formulated by the government in 18, indicate the importance of a decrease in out-of-school children at the school level, and then focus on quality, and then skills, and then relevance, so that the employability of our graduates can be enhanced. So all these challenges that we are facing cannot be perhaps met unless we work together. And PHEC will provide a very strong platform to all institutions so that we can show the change in terms of emphasis on quality, and also see that how we can engage in best practices which are the requirement at national level, and also from the international perspective. Quality is critical from the point of view that that while we are considering the national requirement, international recognition and ranking has become also very important. And very recently we have seen the universities 14, 15 in Times Higher Education in 21 global ranking, and that indicate that some universities do have potential to move and move fast. So while we will be appreciating their efforts, we have to also see that how the rest of the universities can also be brought into the next level, where they can also be included in this list of international recognition. So quality is a very important aspect, and the QECs established in various institutions have been doing a good job. And I would like to thank all of you for joining on this very important session. Like to have your feedback, any comments you would like to make at the end. But let me invite our resource persons, very competent. First, may I request Madam Iram Sohail to highlight and share your experience, and then I would request Dr. Amer Aziz to continue on institutional performance evaluation criteria and standards. So over to you, madam. Thank you so very much. And on a short notice, you have been able to help us, and I'm really thankful to you, madam.
Hazards of technology. So, Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much, Dr. Saab, for inviting me. And I'm always there, just a phone call away, because it's a national cause, and we are always there to help our peers, our colleagues, the universities, and so on and so forth. So, as far as my experience is concerned, you want me to talk about self-assessment report manual, or you want me to talk just generally about quality?
Yeah, I would request that, I mean, maybe some universities are finding it difficult to how to get started as far as QEC data and compiling report is concerned. The preliminaries are, I think, probably well known to all of us, and we may skip those things. But the important elements and the challenges and how you have been able to do things in a best possible manner, maybe that will be of big help. Thank you.
So I think my PowerPoint is not required. Then I will just speak my heart out.
Any slide you wish to, no problem. You can share your screen. You can have access, no problem.
When we started Quality Enhancement Cell here in GCU, there was a lot of resistance initially in 2006. Although we were not given funding by HEC at that time, but our Vice-Chancellor at that point in time, he wanted that we should have quality enhanced cell like other universities. I mean, we were the first one of the first 30 universities of, and 2 phases in which HEC, HEC established QECs with full funding. And that was 1.5 million Pakistani rupees. And that grant was supposed to be merged into recurring grant of the budget of the institution. So that's how we started, and for a long time faced lots of resistance from the seniors, from the professors, that who is this new person who is telling us what to do and what not to do. And every day file of against this letter from the QEC, now this letter has come from QEC. So one has to be execution being taken by the universities. So our lucky charm was that we were, although we were an old institution, but we were a young university at that time, only 4 years old. So bringing in or roping in all the initiatives at the GCU and starting them anew was not an issue, like tenure track system and QEC, and then there was career guidance and placement center. But the main resistance came with the QECs. They could not accept. They thought that someone alien is there to guide them. who have, because universities and churches are hard to change. So university is one of those organizations which cannot be changed. Anyhow, so slowly and gradually we started off with 3 departments, and out of that we gave them orientation, we gave them one-to-one sessions, and out of those 3 we identified a model department, and on which we tried to uh, start this self-assessment report and self-assessment procedure there. And they were very helpful and supportive. That department was chemistry, and till to date we have those beautiful bound SARs along with the compendiums with, and they have been, a great source of sample, or a benchmark for the other departments. So, and with gradually we started off with 1 department, then there were 3 departments, and there were 10 departments, I mean programs, and with different. Then we thought of doing it faculty wise. First of all, we started off with science and technology, then social science, arts and social sciences, and then languages. Now we have 5 faculties, but and we are now trying to rope in all the departments for their, it's the second cycle of the programs, and I think 26 programs are being, the report is being made on 26 programs. We give them orientation and we give them one-to-one sessions as well. And if there are any queries, any ambiguities regarding the analysis, so we try to provide them help vis-a-vis SPSS or MS Excel, and where they can analyze the data and they can, interpret the data and submit it with the self-assessment report. And this is initiated by the QEC with the help of departmental program teams, and the program teams have to work as representatives from QEC. So they are the QEC in their respective department, and they have to work in unison with the chairperson, so that they can, prepare and generate the report after all the analysis, and after going by those criteria. Along with, there are 8 criteria and 31 standards. The criteria: 1 is mission statement and objectives, 2 is curriculum design, 3 is lab and student support, guidance is process context is faculty, 7th is institutional support, and 8th is institutional activities. So there are 8 criteria with 32 standards, and with those 32 standards there are various descriptors. Each descriptor has to be addressed according to the strength or weakness of the program. So the purpose of this exercise, or the rationale behind this exercise, is not to undermine the working of any department, anybody, any faculty member. It is just identifying the gray areas, and then telling them to improve upon those gray areas. And if there is lack of funding, there is lack of infrastructure, so that is being identified, and then that report is sent to the Vice-Chancellor with his signatures. They go back to the to the department for implementation. So, it's all the stakeholders are supposed to be together, to have a nexus, to have close collaboration with each other, so that they can come up with a consolidated report. And SAR, this is self-assessment report, is part of internal quality assurance. And this internal quality assurance prepares the departments and the university for external quality assurance, which is IPE. We as university have gone through IPE, MPhil and PhD reviewed twice, and once only IPE. And I have myself been an IPE reviewer, and I have reviewed more or less 15 universities in Pakistan. And then there was Prime Minister's initiative for on quality assurance and good governance. So we reviewed campuses and sub-campuses of many public and private sector universities. And that cycle was completed in, I think, 3 months. Dr. Farooq here, he was one of the reviewers, co-reviewers with us. So we had been going all over Pakistan and doing this. So both IQA and EQA are essential elements of quality assurance and good governance in any institution. And I think the departments, the faculty members, the program team, the deans, the chairpersons, everybody has to take this exercise very, very seriously. So there are bottlenecks, there are hurdles till to date, but we are doing our work. We are not being deterred by obstacles. We are there with our forte and determination because we are doing what we can do. We want to do our bit for the university, for the organization, and of course, in the longer run, for the national cause. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, madam. Very kind of you. We also have with us Vice-Chancellor King Edward Medical University, Professor Khalid Masood Gondal Sahab. I would request him for his comment and how King Edward Medical University is following on quality standards. Over to you, sir. And Dr. Sahab is also member of the PHEC Commission and get a lot of guidance and support from. Over to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, sir. Thank you very much for inviting me. I think on my left side, our Director QEC, Professor Haroon Hamid is sitting, and QEC department is attending this meeting. And I think quality in under and postgraduate medical education, that is very, very important. And today's meeting pertaining to the quality probably will be a way forward for all of us. At the level of King Edward Medical University, sir, our department has been totally revamped. That department is very active. And at the level of the Higher Education Commission of Pakistan in 2019, according to their key performance indexes, King Edward Medical University attained above 90% marks as far as their standard setting. And inshallah, the setting of Punjab Higher Education Commission, Punjab, King Edward Medical University will follow in the same way, and we are already having, we have excelled during the corona as far as our hospital they are concerned. We came up with some innovation like the telemedicine, and we published 70 original research paper. Our two special issues of Annals of King Edward Medical University, they have been published. Regular webinars, they are going on, and following the instruction of Punjab Higher Education Commission, we have started phase-wise the classes and evaluation that is going on. And I am expecting that we will come up to your expectation as far as quality in under and postgraduate medical education is concerned.
Thank you very much, sir. And we really appreciate your leadership and the support of all doctors, particularly in the recent challenge of COVID and on the front line, and really salute your services and your efforts with this pandemic, and also at the same time sharing your research and taking the King Edward Medical University to the next level. And certainly under your leadership, I'm sure that King Edward Medical University will move to international recognition. It has already international recognition, but there are many areas where you're leading from the front, and that will really be a big mark and an icon of quality for all the other institutions to follow. So thank you very much, sir.
Sir, you will be happy to know we had our Senate meeting last week, which was chaired by the Honorable Chancellor, Governor of Punjab and Health Minister. They were there. And under the instruction of Governor of Punjab, we have now decided to establish this telemedicine department on permanent basis. We are going to support our Tehsil and District Headquarter Hospital, and we will have the liaison with other sister institutions. Our tele-outdoor, our tele-psychiatry desk, and corona health desk, and tele-nutritional desk will be the permanent services which will be extending through your kind honor to our other sister universities, inshallah.
Thank you so much, sir. That's a big step that you have undertaken on telemedicine, and for helping patient not only in the vicinity but also wherever they are, and providing them medical services at their doorstep. Sir, thank you very much, sir. बहुत शुक्रिया आपका. May I now request Dr. Amer Aziz sahab to highlight the UET practices and the importance of IP and what is the way forward so that our other universities can learn from the best practices followed at UET. Over to you, Dr. Sab. Thank you. सर माइक ऑन कर लीजिए सर.
So thank you very much, sir, for inviting me to a very important task of the quality enhancement cell, that is institutional performance evaluation. So before going into detail of this institutional performance evaluation, I would like to show you the different processes that are going on in the university. There are main three processes which are being followed in our university. First one is MS PhD review, then the second is the program self-assessment, third is the institutional performance as evaluation. The first two are at the program level, whereas the canvas of the institutional performance evaluation is at the university level. So because I am invited to give the presentation on the institutional performance evaluation, so I will not discuss the rest of the two quality institutional performance evaluation. There are three components of this institutional performance evaluation. First is the preparation of the university portfolio report. The second one is the visit of the external reviewer or a visiting team. Then third is the post-review process. So these three components are very important. Now we discuss it one by one. First is, what is the university portfolio report? Actually, in a university portfolio report, we give the information about the universities as a reply of the predefined questions which are given at the end of each standards in a IPE manual. So there are questions and we reply that question. So this is the university portfolio report. Once you prepare the university portfolio report and submit it to the Higher Education Commission, then the process of the review started. So Higher Education Commission will examine your report. Structurally, it will see that all the standards are properly replied. If there is some discrepancy, the Higher Education Commission and ask you to resubmit your university portfolio report or within one week. If all the standards are properly replied in the report, then they appoint a review panel out of the pool of reviewers. So they specify you the particular dates at which that panel will visit the university and review the performance. So that panel on the mentioned date, which is also which is also given to the university, that the panel will visit the university, the panel visit university, give review the performance and submit a report based upon that performance. So after submission of that report, after will shared with the university for the corrective action. So that is a total process of the institutional performance evaluation. Now there are 11 standards in institutional performance evaluation. I will discuss the key contents of these standards. First is the first standard is about mission statement and the goal. So under this, these standards, actually we will see when the vision and mission statement develop, who actually made the vision and mission statement, and when the mission and vision statement and renewed or reviewed. So these all cover in this standard 1. Then we have a standard 2, planning and evaluation. So in planning and evaluation, we actually see the plan, asset management and life cycle plan. We also see, is there any master plan of the university or not? We also discuss PC1, PC3, PC4. So these all are in standard 2. Then we have the organization and governance. So in organization, the organogram of the university that is reviewed, and the emergent power of the Vice-Chancellor, the SOPs regarding the use of that emergent powers, and also how the conflict resolved in the university. These all is covered under this standard 3. Then we have the standard 4. In standard 4 are the grievances redressal system is reviewed of the university, is reviewed. Further, the conflict of interest policy, the plagiarism policy, the intellectual right policies, these all are reviewed. Then we have the faculty as a standard. In faculty as a standard, we reviewed actually the appointment of the faculty, the development of the faculty, satisfaction of the faculty. Then in standard 6, students. In student, actually the admission policies are discussed, and admission policies is, we also discuss the credit transfer policies. In the student section, we discuss or review the scholarships also in this standard. Then we have the institutional resources. In institutional resources is we review the hostel accommodation, the campuses of the university, and then the other institutions like labs and other resources. Then in the standard 8, academic programs and curriculum, here we will see that at the assessment of the academic programs, grading policies, the curriculum, how to align the curriculum as per the vision and mission statement. So these all are covered. Then in standard 9, public disclosure and transparency. So here we will see that whether the university adopted the right to access, the right to information act or not. We will see that the publication of the merit list is the SOPs regarding the publication of the merit list. We will see the disseminations of the policies as well as the dissemination of policies and regulation to the faculty members and also the students. Then 10th is the assessment of quality assurance. Here the budget of the QEC discussed. Here the representation of the QEC in all statutory bodies are reviewed, and also the QEC targets, whether the QEC is meeting its targets or not. So these all are reviewed under this standard. Then in the standard 11, and student support services are evaluated. Student support services like career counseling, like I mean the career counseling, in student, I think the career counseling and also the student hostel facilities or some, these are evaluated under these is standard 11. So after these all standards, the panel will visit the university and check the original documents, hold meetings or interviews. These meetings are with the faculty, senior faculty and junior faculty separately, and then with all important and designation holders of the university, I mean the registrar, the director QEC, controller examination. Then they produce a collective judgment, and after that collective judgment make a decision regarding QA and give some recommendations. Then there is a exit meeting with the Vice-Chancellor. During the exit meeting, the team leader will orally tell the Vice-Chancellor what is the performance of the institute or the university. At the end, the panel will write a report, and the format of the report I would like to share with you. There are 3 components of this report. One, you have to write the commendations. I think it is, the link is not working. So there are mainly 3 components. One is the commendations. In the commendations, if you inspire with the university is doing something very good, you mention that one. Then you have a findings. In the findings may be positive, may be negative. So you write down what is your finding, and based upon that finding, you have to give some recommendations. So these are the activities which the panel will do at the time of the review. Then the last one, this is very important, that is the post-review procedure. So the team leader will submit after the review of the performance. The team leader submit a report to the Higher Education Commission, and Higher Education Commission and Quality Assurance Agency. So Quality Assurance Agency, after getting approval from the competent authority, so and ask the university to response on the observation made in this report. So the response time is given as 2 weeks. So if in 2 weeks the universities give it response, then this response is shared with the members of the panels, so that they can accept their point or reject their points. So if they accept these points, the points which they accepted as the response of the university, they are become the part of the final report. So when the final report are prepared, then the competent authority, after approval of after approval of the competent authority, HEC share it with the university for the corrective actions. So now that I have highlighted active action plan and get it approved by the relevant statutory body within regarding the approval from statutory body with a corrective action plan be sent to the Higher Education Commission. It is then published on the website of the Higher Education Commission. So this actually Higher Education Commission is intended to do this. All was communicated to us in the last meeting with the MD QAA. So that's all from IPE. Thank you. So I welcome if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. Very kind of you for highlighting the important initiatives in your university and also the important document IP and how to prepare this report and then follow to record the document and all the practices that are being followed by different departments and faculties in the university, and then making an assessment based on this document to bring the kind of change which is needed or improvement that might be required in a particular department or in a particular area, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. And as we all know that these are very important national standards and criteria that we have to follow at program level, university level, institution level. But then we also have to see the international practices, particularly with the role of IT, e-learning and online education. And we have to see that how online teaching, learning, exercise and practice is being followed. And the most important challenge is related to assessment, examination and grading. In addition to that, the availability of technology in terms of smart classrooms, in terms of access, are other important areas which we need to blend and incorporate in our national standards and quality requirements. So with this, I think we can open the session for any comment or any question any honorable member would like to make, or representative of the university officer, most welcome. So we can have few minutes to respond to those comments and questions. But my request is that PHEC has written a couple of letters. Kindly respond to those letters as applicable and help us in getting the data so that we can fully engage with your institution and also involving the Higher Education Commission, Quality Assurance Agency, so that duplication can be avoided. So we are not going to ask for anything new. It's already, if the exercise has been done, we would like to see that at the end of that exercise, how the implementation plans are being followed and carried out, and what are the new things and the steps that have been taken by the university to bring the change which is needed to enhance the quality of a program or a faculty or at the university level. Thank you very much. Madam Nadia, kindly check the chat box, and if there are any questions, then kindly invite the participant official of the university if they have to make comment.
So far, there isn't any question. Any honorable member who wants to ask any question, please carry on.
Yeah, if any participant would like to make a comment or would like to ask question, then kindly make use of the chat box so that we can identify and then invite for a comment or question.
Dr. Saab, I'm Fazal Ahmad and I am director. It's an additional charge, Director QEC at Rawalpindi Women University. It's an additional look after charge. I have two comments to make. One is that the resources, I think all of my colleagues would agree with me that most of the quality is compromised in all the institutions, especially in higher education, because of the lack of resources. And it's not just the money, it's the infrastructure, it's the availability of the net connectivity that is compromising the quality of education, especially in these times when we are going for online classes. I think most of the institutions are working very hard. In my institution, we have done 4-5 trainings for online readiness to our faculty, and everyone is trying their best. But the infrastructure problems, the technological problems, we cannot handle that without having resources and funding from PHEC and HEC. Second one is that quality enhancement cell cannot be a very vital functional body if look after and additional charges are made for this cell. As far as I know, I may be wrong, there are many universities, some very established university who would not have a regular director or a regular staff for it. Because of, I don't know, I think it's lack of funding again, and maybe the loopholes in the rules and regulation on the part of PHEC and HEC, that mostly we are the teaching faculty who are holding these offices, and we have other assignments as well, and we are working with QEC, but again, the lack of time, lack of authority, lack of resources. It just that perhaps we are performing 10% of the abilities that we have, or the 10% of the things that we can make, where we can make a difference. I don't know how these things can be improved. You people who have authority, who have a better understanding of the issues, may come up with some ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Seva. Very kind of you, and you have raised very pertinent points. And yes, I mean, there are challenges and issues, and from financial point of view and from other requirements for universities. But at the same time, I think in this global village and in very competitive environment, universities have to also make realization that quality is not something come from outside. It's an institutional responsibility. And we have to see that how best we can deliver. You're right. I mean, we need full-time people for that, and automation and access in terms of technology and funding. And let's hope that in future things will get better, particularly with automation, I would say. That probably would minimize the requirement of manpower, and make things easier to log in and submit and update the data as far as the university is concerned. And of course, the university budget has to be enhanced. There is no other opinion on that. And let's work together and see whatever we can do now, today, we should, and then hope for the best in coming days. Thank you.
Dr. One more thing I would like to add, that a university exchange program internally, when in national universities, they are exchanging not just the faculty, not just the students, but also the resources should be shared. That there's very limited, next to nothing exchange things between university. I know in Rawalpindi there are so many universities, but the resources and the faculty and the student exchange program hardly exist. If you could comment on that, please. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right. I mean, our system is not very flexible. It's very rigid, and networking or sharing of resources, even within a university among the department, is not, I would say, a good practice that is being followed, apart from exceptions. And of course, at national level, we need to find ways for collaboration. We talk a lot about international collaboration. It's very important to have that. But I think at national level, we have to see, I think we have to devise policies with some incentives and also that kind of flexibility. For example, student exchange cannot be possible unless the course mapping is done among the universities, so that they can take another semester or a course to another place. And I think such kind of exchange programs can be very useful not only from quality and assessment point of view, but also, I mean, learning new things in a new environment. And the best example probably is Erasmus Mundus European Union's program. That students go to different countries to complete this one master degree program. So I think we need to have such kind of policies, and let's work together and so that we can bring that element into our programs. Thank you.
So, Mr. Altafur Rahman Niaz wants to ask a question regarding programs and program objective evaluation by QEC. Sir, would you like to please elaborate your question, Mr. Altafur Rahman Niaz?
Thank you very much, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab, and everybody else. My question is that Director QEC or the QEC department is supposed to monitor many things, for example, the course progress, for example, the course files, and the class monitoring, whether assignments are being given or not. That is all understood very well, and that is being followed as well very well. My question is that what I've read through the QEC documentation in HEC's website is that they say that every program is supposed to have an objective, just like a business school or a computer science school is supposed to have an objective. And QEC is supposed to evaluate those objectives and ensure that the objectives of the stated objectives of the programs are being met. My concern is that, for example, if I represent the business school, I am the QEC as well, just be ma'am keh rahi thi Guzala ke we are given extra duties. My question is that if I'm, let's say I am qualified enough to evaluate the program objectives of a business school, but how can I evaluate the objectives of a computer science school, or for that matter, any other school?
Sir, I think there is some confusion, if I may add, to respond to your question. I think it's the job of experts, and that's where the assessment teams comes in. It's not the Director Quality Assurance who should be doing everything. The program objective for a particular program has to be defined by the department, by the faculty, and has to be approved by the academic council of the university. And then as far as the assessment or how these objectives are translated into learning outcomes, that is the job of the experts, and that's where the two important steps are incorporated in the manual also, where a program team has to be constituted and then assessment team has to be constituted. The role of QECs primarily is making sure that in doing all that, they follow the procedure and practices that are defined in the manual, so that normalization and standardization can be maintained across the program within a university and also at the national level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Asim Azhar from University of Salkut wants to ask a question regarding course folders. So would you please elaborate your question?
Thank you very much, ma'am, and respected Fazal Khalid Saab, thank you very much for this opportunity, sir. Sir, I have a simple question regarding maintenance of course folders. Sir, do we have an opportunity or choice to prepare our course folders in soft form at our universities?
Of course, I mean, आजकल तो देखें ना, we are on a digital platform, and without software, PDF, e-books, and the other kind of access on internet and online education, you are supposed to have, I mean, both soft copies and also the print copies, and this is one of the advantages that we should take from this online e-learning platforms, and defining and creating LMS, learning management system or campus management system, coupled with the assessment in terms of examination. So I mean, all these kind of information should be available in the archival of the university or in the main data bank of that university. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Khushbu Ijaz from Kennett College wants to ask a question. Please, Dr. Saab.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Madam, please go
Ji,
ahead.
ma'am, please carry on.
Okay. I just want to ask that what is the constitutional status of PHEC? As we have seen that after 18th Amendment, it was basically the actually powers have been shared to the Higher Education Commission, or the education is now a provincial subject. But we have seen that HEC is still there, and they are directing some policies. And so what is the actual status of PHEC? Either we are following the same rules which they have set, or it is just a provincial regulatory authority, or and secondly, what is the status of the funding for the faculty for the institutions like Canadian College that are autonomous? So are PHEC people willing to support postdoc funding to institutions like CADET? Thank you so much.
And though may not be directly linked to the topics we are discussing today, but just to very quickly respond, both federal HEC and provincial HECs have their role to play, and they're covered by the constitutional amendment, 18th Amendment, and the functions of both at both level, national or federal level, and also at provincial level, are defined. There are certain areas where you may see kind of an overlap or duplication. I think when these organizations will function professionally, then a lot of things would be clarified, and there would be a clear direction. And the establishment of provincial HECs has not been long, and it's a recent phenomena. And there are a lot of things where we are working together, but at the same time, the implementation of policies which are requirement at the national level, like setting standards of quality or curriculum, or in other areas, that certainly goes with the Federal Higher Education Commission. But there are a lot of implementation and monitoring and evaluation, starting of new universities, administrative role. That is a provincial subject, has been a provincial subject. Funding, yes, you are right. I mean, at the moment is coming from the Higher Education Commission, Islamabad. But we are moving in the direction where we are expecting that the government will strengthen PHEC, and we will have enough funds at least to support the request and applications of the institutions working in the province. There are already schemes where all institutions, both in public and private sector, are eligible to apply, like, for example, travel grants, for example, conference, if you would like to organize at international level, postdocs, and many other areas where there are funds available. We have recently launched Punjab Innovation Research Challenge Award. This is the first time we have instituted this research fund at Punjab level, with the focus on research which is new and can really make a change. At the same time, focusing on the provincial economy and how the province can benefit in the economic sector through that research, which is going to be a joint proposal by the university and any industry in which that proposal is submitted. So there are some initiatives, and we would like to strengthen, and I'm sure that the government is going to provide further support to the commission. And at the same time, let me also say that there won't be any duplication. We will not ask you to write another SAR, which we have already done at federal level. What we are interested in is that how that SAR has resulted in to bring the change. You know, if the SAR is submitted and then no serious step has been taken to bring the change in terms of quality improvement, then the whole exercise is not meaningful. We are just filling up files and the effectiveness may not be there. So from that perspective, we're only asking that you have done an SAR or IP. Just let us know that the implementation plan that you have made, share with us a copy, and the change that you have been able to demonstrate that as a result of this SAR, this new change, this new lab, this new software, and this new outcome, which has played an important role in quality of the program, has taken place. So this is what we are asking, and this is what the Federal Higher Education Commission wants, and at the same time we are working together, and would like to support our institution in a best possible manner, because at the same time, you know that the higher education sector has expanded in a big way, and there are serious issues of capacity building. Now the number has increased as far as institutions are concerned, over 200 at national level, and 80 plus are in Punjab. So how without effective monitoring, evaluation, policy integration involving stakeholders, you can run this big sector with the clear policy and roadmap for future as far as higher education in the province is concerned. And then all these got to be related at national level. Thank you.
Madam Iram Sohail wants to add regarding funding and additional charges. Ma'am, please.
With your permission, sir, if I may elaborate upon.
Please, madam.
Actually, I am referring to what Dr. Ghazala said, that perhaps there is no funding for QEC regarding the additional charge given to the faculty members. Let me clarify here that HEC has a dedicated budget for QECs, whereas there is salary plus the equipment and everything is there embedded in that budget. So it is part of the grant which we get from HEC, from the funding agency. And as far as additional charge is concerned, it has been reiterated time and again by the HEC, by the QA, that there should be full-time director, not additional charge, because then things are not as established as they should have been, because sometimes the additional charge is given to somebody and there's a rapid turnover, because I have seen this during my review time, that there was no consistent, consistency in the documentation or the QEC quality work for IQA as well, and of course EQA. And then this thing, funding, and the other thing which lacks here is that why we have not yet established the rate of QECs at the higher education institutional level, because QEC is not given any statutory position, so that's why nobody takes it seriously. So that is my one suggestion and submission as well, that something should be done about statutory position of the quality enhancement cell. Otherwise, this will all be an exercise in futility. The faculty members, I still am, it's been my 14th year here as a QC director, the first selected QC director, and of course, Dr. Farooq is there as, there are very few who are selected as directors, but we are dedicated directors for QECs, and we have been given so many additional charges as well. But the focus has always been on QEC. But despite all that authority, responsibility, it is an exercise in futility if we do not have a statutory position, because it varies from regime to regime how the new incumbent will come and takes up this exercise. If it is part of statutory body, then of course things may go seriously. That's my suggestion.
Thank you very much, madam. I think it's a very important point, and that you have explained, and we're trying to bring into the statutes of universities that this director of QEC and director ORIC should be clearly defined and should be recognized with their role they're supposed to play, and then into the decision making and helping the Vice Chancellor on these two very important initiatives from the research commercialization and quality of teaching programs. Thank you very much.
So Ms. Sadia Khan is...
Okay, can we take a couple of questions and then we can close the session? Okay.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. So Sadia is also asking about how PHEC is planning to empower QEC in terms of human resources and infrastructure. I think we have already answered the question. You want to add something, sir?
No, I think we can move to the next.
So Mr. Asif Haider wants to ask a question. He's from UMT. Sir, please.
Thank you, Ms. Sadia, for giving me a chance. First of all, I gratitude to the Commission Chairman that they have arranged this seminar and given us the opportunity to speak on this very important forum. Sir, I have a very brief question. Again, related to IPE. You have presented a presentation also by the UET director on IPE. I have a question that all IPE criterions are so far so good. But don't you think, sir, that in the wake of this COVID situation and the digitalization in education, especially the e-education we call it, we should also review this IP standards, which are too many in the number. And number two, sir, how we can incorporate the outcome-based education, in our curriculum and in our education system. Can you please clarify me on these issues?
Thank you very much. I think there's always room for improvement. And as I mentioned earlier, that we have to see the opportunity for review of the document incorporating the new changes and the new normal we are in actually. And then the how role of IT is explicitly incorporated in our standards and documents. And I'm sure this is going to happen. It's not, something we can just live without its implementation. Most of the universities are already doing a lot of activities and following the programs in line with the provisional policies under COVID, which have been defined at national level. But there is a need to go into the next step where the digital platform has to be recognized in terms of imparting quality education, and what are the important elements that we have to integrate into our national standards and criteria. You're right. The next step is the outcome-based education, and then also outcome-based education has to be linked with the IT and ICT, so that it's not only, the curriculum or defining the objectives, but the most critical element is how these objectives are translated into learning outcomes, and how these learning outcomes are transformed into graduate attributes in terms of knowledge, skills, values, and attitude, rather than having just one track focus on knowledge domain in that particular program. So we have to see that shift and change. There's a lot of realization on this part, and those elements of personality grooming, communication skills, soft skills, life skills, lifelong learning, CPDs, and then this problem-based learning, and then solving problems, and the capacity in the students and the graduates to have this ability to solve the problems and work in the team, and then linking with the society, and then also some of the important elements related to SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, in which most of the universities are doing a lot of things. But unless you do the mapping from the perspective of attainment of those SDGs or program learning outcomes into the graduate attributes, then it may not be possible to make much progress. But if you do, then certainly you can have recognition at national level and also at international level. Some universities have been categorized, recognized on doing good things which have impact on society by demonstrating different projects engaging the students into community services, defining some co-curricular activities where it has an outreach to the areas where access is limited. So all these things are important. And if you look at the SDGs 17 goals, then the fourth one is related to quality of education. And we have to see, and Pakistan is also signatory to that, and see that how by 2030 we will be in a position to attain some of the goals that are set, if not all. Let's hope that we will be able to get the attainment of all. And the government has already set up a policy direction under Planning Commission, both at national level under Planning Commission and also at provincial level in the P&D department. And then also a committee task force is constituted, which is headed by Mr. Riaz Fatiana, who is the Member of Parliament. I had a few discussions and meetings with him. And we will work together with that committee and task force to create an aware SDGs and how it can be linked with the curriculum and other activities that the universities are doing, so that at the end of the program or at the end of the assessment or for international recognition, that kind of data can be available to demonstrate that yes, universities have done good work in attainment of SDGs and creating an awareness in the society. Thank you.
And gentlemen, with this, we sum up our question and answer session. Sir, I would like you to add a closing note to this informative session. And also, I'd like to tell you that this recording of this webinar will be available on our website and our YouTube channel of PHEC, if anyone else wants to be benefited with this. So please.
Thank you. And first, let me thank all the participants and especially our resource person, Madam Iram. Thank you so very much for sharing your views. And Dr. Amer, thank you very much for the presentation, and all the directors and leaders of quality assurance departments in the university. Let's assure that PHEC will work with you, but at the same time, we expect that you will also help us in implementation and create that change which is needed at our institutions. Thank you all, and may God bless you. Thank you.